Conservation Board, Denison, Texas. Will come to order 12 noon. It is Tuesday, July 2nd. Members present are Kurt Chakowski, Linda Anderson, and myself, Kirsten Solomon. We do have a quorum with 3. First on the agenda, to receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on approving the minutes from the June 4th, 2024 meeting.
I wasn't here, so did you see anything?
There's a typo on page 2 of 3, and I know it's petty, but I'm petty. Right before the parentheses, unaware if they are painted clothes versus clothes.
About a third of the way down.
And it may be a term of art, but at any rate, with that correction, English teacher can't take it out of me. I'm sorry. I will make that correction.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
And I'll second.
Awesome. Okay, so motion by Linda Anderson and a second by Kurt Chakowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item B, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for C of A to approve the repainting of the facade above the awning and to paint the name of the business on the same portion of the facade at 314 to 319 West Woodard Street.
Thank you. 314 to 319 West Woodard Street is where Snow White Dry Cleaners is located. They have historically been located in that same building, and so they are looking to repaint the top portion. You can see that there's some just wear, and so I would consider that routine maintenance, but because it's painting, wanted to bring it to your attention, as well as adding the name of the business painted across the top as it looked in some of the historic photos as well. The colors are listed there for you. Malabar is the creamy color, and Jay Blue is what the signage will be painted in. Also, above that center window will be since 1898 with the date included there. Other than that, there's nothing changing at this point in time. And the request just for the painting and the signage. The sign is fine the way it is. Because it's being painted on, the requirements are a little different than if it were an actual sign. So the size is good and things like that. The applicant is here, and if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them.
If you go back to the picture before that, I know it's the font on the slide, but is your font going to be close to what is in that picture and your other pictures you have on the ladder there? Now I'll have to have you get your name and your address.
My name is Laura. I currently own Snow White Dry Cleaners. And yes, the funding on the letters will be the same as it used to be before, just to make it look the way it was before.
And that was the same thing that I would hope, that you would use that historic font.
Yes.
And also, just I treasure you and your business because you're a Texas treasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
50 years, same place, doing the same thing. Congratulations.
And
Thank you.
awarded.
And awarded.
Yes.
I have one tiny question, and that is, in the description of the request, it says the business is Snow White Dry Cleaners, and on the visual, we got Snow White Dry Cleaner, so I'm wondering which.
Yes, we were debating into which one sounds more correct. And the day that we were doing that, Mr. Gordon Norman happened to be there, and he said, Laura, I think everywhere that you find it, it'll be with the S. So if you add the S, it'll sound more professional or the way it should be, not cleaner, but cleaners. So we're going to go ahead and add the S.
Great,
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
well, we treasure you, like I said, and gosh, you don't have that giant smokestack on top of you.
It's gone.
Any other discussion or questions? Do I have a motion?
I would move that we approve the request for a certificate of appropriateness for the repainting of the facade above the awning and to paint the name of the business on the same portion of the facade at 314, 319 West Woodard.
I second.
Motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
You can hang, or you can get back to your business.
And Laura, how soon will you be able to start painting?
I was just waiting for the approval, so now I need to find the right person to
I don't want you on the ladder, though.
No.
I'm up there all the time, but,
And do it in the morning, not in the afternoon.
yes. Thank you.
Item C, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for a C of A to build a generator enclosure in the rear public parking lot behind City Hall at 300 West Main Street.
Thank you. This request is a city request on, the applicant is the city. This is for the parking lot right behind this building at that corner. You'll notice that the tree is missing from the corner, but I am assured that it will stay to have that visual impact and create some shade, and I guess also obstruct this enclosure a little bit as well. We've identified this location as the best location for the generator installation, and that is something that we need to have for our operations, of course. You may not be aware at this point in time that there are talks about reconfiguring that parking lot as well, so due to those reasons, it needs to be at this location. The enclosure will be approximately 11 feet tall and will be of masonry construction on those two sides that are facing the street. And then we do have to have access in for maintenance purposes on the parking lot sides. So at this point in time, conceptually, this is what it will look like. If approved, it will be as closely related to the images here. Fanchen Stearns is here. She is our CIP, our Capital Improvements Projects manager, and she was the one to submit the application. If you have questions, she can probably answer them better than I, but this is the request to
I do.
I have
the enclosure there.
My question is number one, when I was just visiting this board before I became on it, it just so happens the library was asking for a chain link fence. And it was denied, and just driving by there today, I can see they put up a black fence in particular that. So my question is twofold. Number one, somewhere in the cudgels of my brain, I seem to remember a prohibition on chain link fence, number one. And number two is, I just don't like chain link fence. And if we're going to have a quality city hall that presents a quality image, chain link fence for the entrance, well, I think could be better. Now, I'm going to suspect it's cost, but I would hope if we're spending money in the places we're spending, and we could afford something besides a chain link fence.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that. This is still super conceptual. Like Mary said, they missed the tree, they missed a couple other little things. So the person that did this, it's with the engineering firm that we're working with that's actually engineering the plans for the generator. And the engineering training that they had help us with this hasn't been to the site. So this is just conceptual at this point.
Yeah, the only problem I have with that is under the background information analysis, it talks about a stone on side streets and a chain link type material on the parking lot side. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with giving an approval for the concept and for the placement and for the masonry stone, but I would ask to come back with something besides chain link fence.
And I think the long-term plan is to replace that chain link. For now, we're trying to get it in to meet Senate Bill 2 compliance. It's a risk and resilience for City Hall and just for all city facilities that were set up to still operate if there's some kind of an ice storm or we lose power or whatever. City Hall is super critical because our emergency operations center would probably be based out of here once we get this generator up. So in the future, that long-term goal is to come back. The way that the panels will be done is it'll be kind of a board almost. It'll be almost like some of these other fences that you see where the different kind of posts are up and put into the ground, and then a board is basically slid down, in between those posts.
Even with that system of those boards slid down,
A slip fence?
4 weeks.
And this will be masonry. So this will be masonry instead of the metal.
So you just let masonry into rock.
That's
Yes,
the new
ma'am.
way that they
That's
right.
do them.
That's what the
That's wood.
TI,
It's falling apart.
yeah, but that, no, this is
I'm
not.
wondering about the integrity of those things you slide it into, but we're talking about those big posts that look of some substance, correct? I'm wondering too, just not only the chain link perhaps being unaesthetic, but I wonder if it sort of renders it an attractive nuisance as well, but your engineers will address that. I know that things that are of potential danger are generally not that accessible.
Yeah, we're gonna do everything that we can to make it inaccessible and unattractive. Nobody's gonna wanna go in there. It's gonna be really tight too. Even for people going into work, we're trying to do the most with the smallest footprint. Parking is a premium. There are plans for some reconfiguration back there, like Mary spoke to. So we're trying to do the most with the least. And I think the long-term plan is to come back with more of the masonry walls around the front once we get everything in there, once we get it constructed and see what that footprint actually looks like.
Well, I guess you could convince me if there would be an end date certain of when this temporary chain link fence, I mean, like on the 700 block there in the Piazza construction. Understand that's temporary and it's gonna come down. I got that. But sometimes temporary goes for decades. And I would almost ask the schedulers to say, okay, so when are we planning for us to come down? And you would come back to us if you needed more time.
And Ms. Stearns, did you say something about raising some sort of deadline, or did I make that up?
I think it's funding that the
Funding
Senate
that
bill.
needs to be spent?
Yeah.
Okay, we obviously don't want to let that funding go away, but this is a very reasonable way to do that, I think. Then, right?
Yeah, I think
To
so.
meet-
I
To
think so.
meet the Senate bill, I think is the question. When is that deadline?
Yeah, that deadline has passed, and these plans being implemented, so we submitted the plans to the state, and they said, that's great, here's, I think it was 24 months, so we're probably getting close to that now. That's how long the engineering was going to take in the construction. We actually had started this project, I think it was
So it's
in
2 year money, is
22.
what you're telling me.
It's, so, I don't believe the money, they don't give us money to do this.
No, this is city
We
funded.
just have the requirement to do it, and that's what the
You
bill.
didn't come and put up a fence for you? Go for it.
Well, it's tied to if we had an emergency, then there is
That's a
funding tied
requirement
to
for
that.
the,
Yeah.
The
EMS.
enclosure will be locked, correct?
Yes, it'll be
Oh,
locked.
absolutely.
So do you want to make a motion as to what you recommend?
My question would be is how assured are you that this is a temporary and would be replaced?
I think that it will probably eventually, as long as operations permit that, but I don't have a timeline for what that would look like. It could be a couple years.
I think Mrs. Tate answered a couple of my concerns, and that was the tree. We are guaranteed that that tree will not be taken down.
I can't guarantee that, but the design is to leave the tree. The person that did the conceptual just hadn't seen the tree staying. So actually, you can see it's kind of a right angle there against that little low wall that's there right now. It'll match what's there existing. It'll be kind of 245s to create that angle around the tree instead of that sharp right angle, which will also help, Mary mentioned it, when you pull up to that stop sign, it'll help keep that line of sight for traffic that's coming through on Chestnut.
No blind spots, because that was another concern. And with the reconfiguration, you're saying that will be taking place with the parking lot now. The northeast corner was not a consideration with that?
No,
Okay,
that is not
By the alleyway, you mean?
yes.
correct. Yeah, and I can't speak to.
Obviously, there's some things going in planning.
Yes,
going in there.
there are, and I can't speak to, I mean, those are questions for Public Works and Fanchon about placement and why, and wires and underground things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Correct.
for whatever reason, that's the best spot. I'm sure you've noticed there've been some changes back by that other green electrical box back there, trying to beautify that as best we can. So, and I think to ease some of your concerns, our leadership does not want anything that is unattractive or I can't see that fence staying in place.
Yeah. I don't
But-
see our compliance or our permitting guys here, so I'm almost guessing that you have already got permits and
They,
approved.
We
for
will.
the start of whatever needs to go there, yes.
Okay,
it's
so
more of
my
a
question is
material.
how do we enforce, let's say, a 2-year limit on chain link?
I think we can do that.
And if for the reconfiguration of the parking lot, an extension could be requested, but I think a time specific and perhaps, well, obviously it would be, if you weren't done, you have to come ask. So, right?
Mhm. I'm just thinking how to do this now.
Are we only talking about
Okay.
chain links?
No, I'm just going to combine the top agenda item and the bottom part here then. Okay, I'm
Okay.
ready if you are. All right, Mr. Chairman, I am ready to make a motion to approve the request on a certificate of appropriateness to build a generator enclosing in the rear parking lot behind City Hall at 300 West Main to be comprised of stone on the street sides and a temporary, no greater than 2 years, chain link type material on the parking lot side to be replaced by a permanent solution. Did you get all that, Karen?
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, thank you. Motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
Staff updates.
Staff updates. I wanted to make you aware that in my budget requests, I have asked for some funding to look at some historic resource survey of this was at Donna's request, of looking at the downtown again, doing a survey of the downtown again, looking possibly at the boundaries, and then also looking at some residential historic districts. I had Post Oak was here doing some project visits for their tax credit projects that they have in town. And so the young woman and I drove around and looked at some areas. And so they're getting back to me with some direction, what they think, and what that could possibly cost. So we will generate an application for the CLG for the survey. And then depending on what that cost estimate looks like, I've asked them to try to keep it, I'd like to see it phased. We can't do it all most likely. And depending on what that amount is, whether we have to go out to bid or not, I don't anticipate that. So it should be noted that some of the individuals that did the past surveys with rosin now work at Post Oak. So they are familiar. And in my follow-up call, she was on as well, asking for some guidance
So
and
there's not
directions.
a lot of, or not as much re-education.
Correct.
That'll save some
Correct.
money.
Yep. So we'll know our budget process is underway. We had our budget workshop last Friday. We'll know what requests are being granted to each division. I'm guessing early September, I think, is the anticipated date so that we can start planning for things.
And then the
So-
public meetings to follow.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, that's just to give staff an idea. We still have to do all the public
Is there any reason
things.
you contemplated and chose Post Oak rather than rosin?
It was more because she was here and I
Okay.
am a firm believer in getting multiple estimates. So, she had actually reached out to me and said, I'll be in town looking at these projects. Is there anything that we can help you with? And so I said, sure, might as well take advantage of you being here.
Is rosin
So-
still on a retainer for being our consultant?
We did not have them on a retainer.
It was just a case by case.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's no intent to change, is there,
Intent to change from rosin?
from rosin?
The young woman that was with rosin is no longer there, that you were working with on the ordinance and things like that. She is with Post Oak.
Ah,
So,
aha.
Uh-huh.
Is that the first one or the second?
I believe it's the one that I was, this last one. We can discuss.
I thought the first one was, but.
They've had multiple individuals go.
Methinks there's
So-
something,
I'm not sure what that means, but that's my update for you.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right. It's 12:20, meeting adjourned.
huzzah.